This is the Ohio AgNet from the Voice You Know at the News You Trust studio, sponsored by BASF and Veltima fungicide, the proven #1 for the toughest corn diseases with long-lasting residual. When you need to be confident your fungicide will perform. I'm Ty Higgins. Analyzing the impact of data centers to rural Ohio, a hot, dry week, and the challenges facing the Farm Bill. This morning's news feed delivered by Ebert's Field Seeds, proven local seed performance for Ohio farmers. It's time to start planting Ebert's. Call 937-473-2521 or visit online at ebertsseeds.com. There's a new Ohio AgNet podcast available now. Before the Ohio legislature closed up shop for the summer, work was put in place to gauge the impact of data centers on rural communities. Evan Calicote is Director of State Policy with Ohio Farm Bureau.
We have definitely heard from our members statewide. I think data centers is without a doubt the #1 issue that we are getting questions about. In terms of kind of what's been going on, the legislature tried to take some action here at the end of June before they broke for their summer recess. They created a joint data center committee that they fielded testimony from all kinds of different groups and normal citizens, including Ohio Farm Bureau. I testified on behalf of our members there a few weeks ago, and we just kind of outlaid some of the concerns that we have when it comes to especially the land use, the amount of land that these things take. I think land use is far and above one of the #1 concerns, but electricity, water, and transparency even, I think, is one question that we have. But the legislature was not able to come to a consensus, I would say, on kind of where to go from here. There was a potential bill, House Bill 646, that they had debated many various changes, including some tax exemption changes that we would have liked to see. But they were just not able to come to a consensus before they broke. So we don't anticipate seeing them back until after the November election. I think there might be a small chance that we'd see them, but I have a feeling we will be still kind of waiting until after the election to talk through those things.
Also on the latest podcast, Dusty Sonnenberg takes the Field Leader Roadshow to Van Wert County and Heffelfinger Farms.
We do no-till on our soybeans, and then in the fall we'll make a pass where we intend to plant corn, and we'll do that with a vertical tool. And then the next spring we'll just drop the planter and go. Only issues we have occasionally is if we have a little heavy rains that we might have to go out and touch spots up to level things up and that, but otherwise we tried to do as little tillage as possible.
Let's talk about the current season that we've had, a variable planting season around the state. What's it been like here in Van Wert County?
Challenging. Actually, probably the driest we had was coming out of March into early April before we started getting the rains. And to be honest, we needed the rain around here. We were very dry from last year's drought. There was a few fellas that pushed the envelope and started planting in that early April time frame. We didn't. We didn't feel it was quite fit yet. So when the rains come, it pushed us back, and we didn't start planting until a month later than we usually do. And this year it was around the 14th of May when we started. Had about a 3-day window there, and then turned wet again for a period, and then was able to start rolling earnestly about the 30th of May and on into June.
You can hear more of the conversations with Mike Heffelfinger and Evan Calicote on the new Ohio AgNet podcast. The video and audio versions online at ohioagnet.com. You can also find the video versions on Facebook and Ohio AgNet TV on YouTube. Let's get a check of the forecast now, brought to you by Seed Genetics Direct, the #1 fastest growing and largest Ohio-based independent seed company. Here's Ryan Martin.
No rain this week, all week long, just heat and humidity, and the heat and humidity will reach a zenith probably Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. That doesn't mean we fall off super hard on Friday, but I do think we see a little bit more cloud cover around as we move into Friday. Not looking at any major precipitation here until overnight Saturday night into Sunday. Hit and miss scattered showers there, and then that kicks off a pattern where we see afternoon, evening showers and thunderstorms through Sunday night, Monday night, Tuesday as well. The rest of next week, there is some moisture around. Temperatures easing back ever so slightly, but humidity values staying up. You get late next week, so Saturday the 25th into Sunday the 26th, massive storm complex coming through. Going to rip through a large part of Ohio with heavy rains. Behind that, more hit and miss action for the week of the 27th. I'm Ryan Martin.
Thank you, Ryan. What are the prospects of getting a farm bill done here in the next couple of weeks? Joel Panorwood has that story.
Congress is back in the Capitol after an extended 4th of July recess, and Senate Agriculture Committee leaders are renewing efforts to move a new farm bill. Committee Chair John Bozeman reviewing feedback on his draft, including concerns from Democrats over proposed changes to the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, and commonly referred to as food stamps.
If we need to include things or, if there's some that feel like we need to take some out, again, just respond to whatever the comments are that we get.
One disagreement centers on states with high SNAP payment error rates. Bozeman says he's open to a compromise, but believes states must still have an incentive to reduce improper payments. The next challenge will be securing Senate floor time before lawmakers leave for the October election break.
Senator Thune is one of our most active members on the committee. He's totally into giving us floor time when we need it to get the Farm Bill passed. And he understands, coming from South Dakota, how important this is.
With that said, Senate Majority Leader John Thune also navigating several other legislative disputes, including election restrictions, government spending bills, and surveillance authorities. Plus, an Iran war supplemental spending bill also competing for floor time, and you have an interesting road ahead. Do keep in mind, though, that measure includes year-round E-15 legislation and $10 billion in additional farm assistance, but it could face quite a debate because of opposition to greater U.S. involvement in the Iran conflict. Not exactly a clear-cut road ahead for the farm bill, but only time will tell. I'm Joel Norwood reporting.
Thank you, Joel. Bean leaf beetle causing some havoc in some soybean fields across the Buckeye State. There's a new bean leaf beetle pod feeding study. We'll hear more about it in today's featured audio, coming up next here on the Ohio AgNet.
The Ohio Soybean Council is investing in research and innovation to help Ohio soybean farmers get more from every acre. Your Checkoff supports research focused on improving yields, reducing costs, and finding solutions to pests and diseases. Through Arable Research Lab, Your Checkoff is helping bring new soy-based products to market because innovation on and off the farm helps create more opportunities for your soybeans. Visit soyohio.org to see how your Ohio Soybean Checkoff is driving innovation.
The way farmers get their information is expanding, and now there's a new dimension of farm news for the Buckeye State. Ohio AgNet TV. Learn from other farmers, see products and practices in action, and stay connected to what is happening both locally and nationally. Plus, watch expanded video coverage throughout the growing season and beyond with regular updates from the field and stories that highlight the people, issues, and innovations driving Ohio agriculture. Don't miss a moment. Subscribe now on YouTube by searching Ohio AgNet TV, where Ohio agriculture comes to life.
Welcome back to the Ohio AgNet. I'm Ty Higgins. In today's featured audio, we learn more about a bean leaf beetle pod feeding study with Dusty Sonnenberg.
Joining me today is Dr. Kelly Tillman. She is with The Ohio State University as an entomologist and a professor in the Department of Entomology at the College of Food, Agriculture, and Environmental Science. Dr. Tillman, thanks so much for your time today. We want to talk about a soybean checkoff funded research project you've been doing for a little while now, dealing with pod feeding. Can you tell us some more?
Yes, Dusty. So bean leaf beetles are a familiar pest in soybean, and earlier in the season they cause largely cosmetic damage by feeding on leaves. That is seldom economic, but when they are more important economically is later in the season when they feed on pods. And that is a problem because it can damage the seed directly, and it also opens up the pod and the seed to diseases. And so pod feeding later in the season is really the bigger threat from bean leaf beetle.
Do bean leaf beetles move in from other areas, or do they overwinter here in Ohio?
They overwinter in Ohio. They overwinter as an adult and come out early in the season, and then they have a couple of generations. And it's the later generations at the end of the season that we worry more about. And they're very mobile. And that is a problem because they move from field to field depending on which fields are tastiest. And so imagine a soybean field that matures earlier than its neighbors. It dries down. The bean leaf beetles leave that dry field, and then that nice green field serves as a magnet, and it can collect extra bean leaf beetles that do that pod feeding. And that is the core of the research problem we're working on right now. We are seeing a lot of variability when different soybean fields are maturing, especially these days. We're getting a lot of planting disruptions due to, for example, weather that may result in a very wide range of planting dates of soybean. We see farmers experimenting more with things like double cropping. Some farmers are exploring using sets of different maturity groups to spread out their harvest. And what this is resulting in is a lot more variability in when soybean fields mature, which puts those later maturing juicy green fields at the very end of the season at greater risk. And so our research right now, this is a multi-year study where we're trying to look at this more formally. This is something we've always known, this sort of greenfield magnet effect. But what does that really mean numerically in terms of pod damage? And so we're doing experiments where we're manipulating the maturation of fields and measuring damage. And hopefully this will allow us to quantify these impacts a little bit more formally, which may ultimately lead to better thresholds for when and how to manage these bean leaf beetles in later maturing fields at the end of the season.
As far as the preliminary data that you've received so far, have there been any indications of difference based on soybean varieties, or is it solely maturity that we're seeing the most difference in right now and the attraction to the bean leaf beetle?
So what we're working on right now is the maturity group angle. We're using maturity group to manipulate when we get maturation, and we are seeing in our preliminary work, definitely we're validating this thing we've always observed, that the things that are maturing later are pulling in bean leaf beetles. But it's a little too early now to give advice based on that. This is probably going to be the work of a couple more seasons.
Great information. Once it's all complete, some very practical information that we can use to make management decisions moving forward. Again, my guest today is Dr. Kelly Tillman. She is an entomologist with Ohio State University in the College of Food, Agriculture, and Environmental Sciences. Dr. Tillman, thanks so much for your time.
Thanks for having me, Dusty, and a big shout out to the Ohio Soybean Council for supporting this work.
Reporting for the Ohio AgNet, I'm Dusty Sonnenberg.
Thank you, Dusty. We'll check the markets and get some analysis after this as the Ohio AgNet rolls on.
Bottom at 31, sold them 30,000.
Get ready to bid on the heavy equipment and vehicles you need in a Ritchie Brothers Midwest Regional Auction happening August 6th. Inventory is housed at Minneapolis, Kansas City, Chicago, Columbus, Detroit, and Lincoln locations. Choose from a wide selection of construction and transportation equipment. Don't miss this great opportunity. Visit rbauction.com/Chicago to sign up. Again, that's rbauction.com/Chicago.
Are you looking for the latest in Ohio agriculture? Well, you can get it all in one place. The Ohio AgNet Podcast. Join us as we sit down with farmers, experts, and ag leaders from across the Buckeye State. From the latest news to interviews that matter, we're here to keep you informed and connected. Whether you're in the tractor, the truck, or the shop, we bring the conversation to you. Search Ohio AgNet Podcast on your favorite app or find it on Facebook or YouTube. Don't miss a minute of the Ohio AgNet Podcast. Subscribe today.
Welcome back to the Ohio AgNet. I'm Ty Higgins, and today's market analysis is brought to you by Louis Dreyfus Company. Excited to bring a brand new soybean crush facility to Upper Sandusky. Learn more about marketing your soybeans with LDC at 574-566-2113. Here's Ryan Martin.
Grain markets finished stronger on Friday after a WASDE report that really wasn't all that spectacular, but I guess you could say it was supportive. As we kind of dive into the action from last Friday, corn finished 8 to 10 higher, soybeans 9 to, we'll call it 14 higher. July contract was stronger than that, but remember, it's going away. Soybean meal was strong. Soybean oil held its own okay. Wheat markets were up big, 20 to 25 cents across Chicago, KC, and Minneapolis markets. Overall, the Board of Trade was higher after the WASDE report came in pretty doggone close to expectations. The stage is set for a sub 700 million bushel wheat stock number and a sub 1.7 billion bushel corn stock number. The one that I'm questioning here a little bit, they're saying sub 300 million bushel soy stocks. It all comes down to whether corn and soybean yields get downgraded. We'll watch the crop progress numbers today on that. I'm Ryan Martin.
Thank you, Ryan. Trading on the higher side overnight. Corn for July, $4.40 a bushel. That's 2 cents to the plus side. September up 5.5 at $4.45. December corn 6 cents higher at $4.67 a bushel. August soybeans up 8.5 at $12.25. November $11.97 up 6.5, and September wheat $6.47 up by 7 cents. For the Ohio AgNet, I'm Ty Higgins reporting. We'll see you down the road.